That's why, like, every time that I like do a set, I like to make sure that I'm sprinkling in a bit of, like, you know, pillars of queer culture or like queer artists that I really enjoy.
We're gonna meet where this dog is laying down, and we're gonna say, "What up, rice cooker?"
Hi.
I got the homie. I mean, I always call you Robbie just because I like your name, Robbie. But you are Midnight Drift.
Yes.
Okay, you can start us off by letting us know the inspiration behind the Midnight Drift. How often do you drift at midnight? Things of that nature.
Honestly, I don't drift enough at midnight, but I do. I'm so glad that someone's finally asked this question regarding like midnight drift, because like I used to do a lot of synthwave and 80s style music. So like when people hear midnight drift, they're like, oh, it's just, you know, just 80s name because you see all those cars and DeLoreans and stuff. But no, this predates a lot of like of the 80s stuff that I would do. This came from a story back in like 2018. I came here down to Huntington Beach. Really.
Okay, here being like Los Angeles area.
Yeah. I had just moved to Vegas, so I had come back down to Huntington Beach to see a concert. And after that concert, we kind of did things that I probably shouldn't have done at that age, but also like it was really fun. And
if you were that age, it was the right thing to do, though.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
just so you know,
it's a real coming of age cliche. But like, I ended up behind the wheel of a car, and we did donuts in a Walmart parking lot. But like, it if I were being completely literal, it would be 3 a.m. donuts. But like, that doesn't roll off the tongue as well as Midnight Drift.
No,
so,
you're
like,
gonna get like. They're going to think you're doing DoorDash deliveries or something. Like
it's like that cookie company that's up at like 11 p.m. and everybody loves to get that.
Oh my gosh, that's the way to do it, though. I mean, I feel like a lot of our origin stories are late night stories because we are late night bats to begin with when you're a DJ. So, tell me a little bit about your style because. We heard your set. We're going to be seeing this interview like after people watched your set for about a week. So tell me about if you have a unique approach to how you curate music because you're just like really friggin' good at it. So do you have an approach or are you just like savant and you just like you play what you like?
I mean, it's a mix of both, really. I mean, like every time like I am getting ready to put out a new album or there's like a new body of music, I like to call it like an era, kind of like Maddie on Porter Robinson. Some people will instantly think, oh, like Taylor Swift, but that's a different thing. But like every time that a new era rolls around, I like to update the way that I DJ to better fit like the kind of music that I'm making at that time. So like for this one, I started a new era called like Radiance, which is a lot more upbeat, more 4 on the floor, 128 and up, kind of just very dancey. Because like in between the time that I finished my last album and I'm releasing this new one, a lot has changed for, especially like in terms of like mental health wise. So like it's just kind of like having fun, more lighthearted era this time around compared to last time around, which is a lot more emotionally grounded and real and reflecting on traumas.
Yeah. And I feel like that's something people don't think about with DJs. I feel like people have an expectation that our job is to show up and be the life of the party for their sake, as if we're not thinking our own thoughts and going through the things that we're going through. But you do bring up an interesting point because I do believe that the phases in my life, the circles of friendship I'm in or no longer in, if I'm feeling something, if I'm mourning something, I feel that no matter what I do, it shows up in my DJ set. Like I could wake up and fool myself and be like, I'm going to do a happy dance set today. And then I play it back and I was like, oh, I was like crying on the dance floor. Yeah. I was clearly processing something when I chose these songs.
It's interesting how much of like music choices is on a subconscious level. Cause like I can make a conscious decision I'm going to do dubstep now, but then, you know, I'm not just going to go download 50 best to dubstep hits. I'm going to like pick something that like the moment I hear it, I'm like, that's something that resonates with me. That's something that speaks to me. And that happens every time I update my DJ sticks.
And I think that's kind of the difference between, I think, maybe a DJ who's playing gigs where there are kind of requirements, like I have to play this new song, I have to find a new remix of this song. It's nice to be able to choose based on something resonating, and it's good to have a criteria when you're choosing songs. And I feel like I have a lot of people that ask me, how do I start DJing? What's the most important thing? And it's very common for people to be like, the most important thing in DJing is mixing. And it's pretty rare that someone is just like, actually, it's song choice and curatorship. And that curatorship can and should be like very personal, you know? Yeah.
Because like, one of the biggest important things for me when it comes to DJing is that, like, if I'm not having fun, why am I even doing it? So, like, I had been wanting to do more DJ stuff with Midnight Drift for a while. And back when, like, this is, like, I think around, like, 5 years ago now, I was talking about this to my mom and my uncle. And my uncle was instantly like, well, you got to play, you got to play the hits, what people are like. It's not about what you play. It's about what people are liking. They like Marshmello, They love Justin Bieber. And I'm like, that's not the kind of stuff that resonates with me. So it's like, I think finding a good balance between, like, being able to read a crowd and being to be, like, able to understand that they're liking what they're hearing or they're not really vibing with it, and being able to, like, curate that while also making sure that you're playing stuff that you enjoy is a really important part of that. Because, like, there are times where, like, I've dropped a song that I thought was gonna, like, really go nice, and then people are just, like, kind of like swaying a bit.
You can tell they're
like,
waiting for the next song.
Yeah. So, like, I'll instantly be like, okay, well, I plan to play that song, but I can probably figure out a way to get into a more upbeat song, and then I'll do that, and they're like, oh, okay.
But that's the thing, you're reading and you're reacting to it, which is, I think, is what a good DJ should be doing.
Yes.
Because, it is a line to balance out. It's like we're here to be curators, and sometimes we're literally being played to play the songs that somebody else likes. There's those gigs. But there's always room for some kind of curatorship. Like, if you look at it
I think it also comes down to trust, really. Like, if you are, like, a show booker and you're booking someone to play at that event, I am under the understanding that they are booking you with the trust that they know that you can bring a good time, rather than knowing that that's a DJ, I like that price point, let's go with them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because like that happens at a lot of places.
Money
but, like,
talks.
Curation on both the showrunners and also the DJ's end, I think, is equally important. Because if you can craft a really good lineup, then you know that it's going to be a really good night, and then those people can kind of feed off each other's energy. Like like with Crystal Nostalgia, it was really awesome being able to hear how well everybody's sets kind of rounded up to one neat experience, even though everybody kind of brought their own different sound to it. Yeah,
and I think a well-curated night should feel like that. And I think even when it comes to lineup and energy, to be a good promoter, you have to know a DJ's style and everything to put them in the right spot so that the energy is mounting and flowing on the nice roller coaster you hope it is, and hopefully you also like sell drinks in that process too.
It's also like a very interesting, like, relevant talking point, because like there's a really interesting discussion going around whether or not, like, if you're opening up for like a larger act and like you are like an opening act, people say that like you should not you should not be playing bangers, or like you should not be really pumping up the audience. You're there to play waiting music before the opener comes up. But there's also like the other side where it's like some of the best sets I've ever experienced was finding these openers that I never like knew until I walked into the venue. And like I think I prefer that more, because like there's a really good chance that an opener has one of the best sets you will ever experience in your life. And they're being held down because I can't.
Someone told them not to shine.
The open, I can't overshadow the main act.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that if you program right, you know how to build with that because you know the DJs well enough. And if you're a promoter who doesn't care, doesn't know enough about the DJs, the music, and the scene, that's when things get messy, because the error can be in the DJ choosing the wrong songs, or it can be that that's not the DJ for that spot, and maybe that DJ should have been after the opener or something, to be the cool down or to be the continue the party thing. So there's different ways to program for sure.
Yeah.
But it is a bummer to think like, oh yeah, promoter told me not to shine. I'm old enough to be from an era where promoters would tell me not to play electronic music, house music, because that music was like for gay people, and this isn't a gay club, and you better only play R&B and hip hop and things like that. And that was just like the language of being a promoter. Like in the early 2000s, there was a bigger, thicker cultural, racial line between music genres in the early 2000s than now. You know, by the time I was done with that club, I was playing Peaches, I was playing The Cure, I was playing the weirdest shit, and they would just let me go because they were coming back to see me do that thing that they liked that I did the last week. And I didn't have to be so rigid. It really was a gig where I feel like they just wanted me to play, I don't know, at the time, songs by Lil' Kim and, you know, Beyonce when she first debuted solo, you know, like I feel like they wanted me to do that, like play Ludacris, play the Black Eyed Peas. And yeah, I played that stuff, but reading the crowd, it's like, I'm in Orange County, and there's a lot of Mexican girls here that would die if I played The Cure right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? So just being able to culturally read a room like that, like, I think that's important. And sometimes, like, I'm a DJ, I know music, you hired me because I know music, so just trust me to do this weird thing, you know?
Yeah.
Trust, like you said.
Yeah, like trust, yeah. It's interesting to me that you bring up, like, the whole, like, house is for gay clubs and, you know, and for, it's exclusively, like, this queer culture thing. Because, like, my first introduction to electronic music was through, like, crowd videos of, like, I would just browse YouTube as a kid. And, like, I would see, like, I wouldn't, like, understand what this club is. But I'm just like, well, I when I grow up, I want to go to a club. And then I'll hear, like, it's, like, this, like, gay club in Beverly Hills. And I just didn't understand what that was at the time. But they're playing Zed. And they're playing, like, Martin Garrix's Deadmau5. And, like, even, like, Skrillex. And I'm just like, man, I want to do this.
Yeah,
I want
dance
to
culture.
make that kind of music.
Yeah.
And it's like it's so funny to me, like, now coming as someone who is, like, queer out and about, because, like, I didn't know that back then, and it feels kind of like
from a rich history of dance floor culture, and particularly in the queer culture. The dance floor isn't just a dance floor for fun. We go to the dance floor when we're angry. We go to the dance floor when we are rioting for our rights. We go to the dance floor when we are mourning our friends. Yeah. You know, like I grew up, you know, I started listening to house music in the 90s during the AIDS epidemic. Yeah. So house music and the AIDS epidemic and the movement for that was like a huge thing in the 90s. And there's a lot of romanticism of like, I miss the 90s. And I remember the 90s being kind of rough in a different way. But like culturally, the dance floor means something different to different cultures. But particularly in the queer culture, it really is just one of the last safe spaces for all of us. And just means something different, resonates different. We used to hide in our dance clubs. Now we don't have to hide anymore. So there's a lot of rich texture to it. You know,
it is so like it feels amazing knowing how closely tied my music taste is to like queer culture and history, because like, you know, there's a lot to be attributed to gay nightclubs in Chicago when it comes to stuff like French touch,
absolutely.
French electronic music. Like, you know, Daft Punk was really inspired by Chicago house, and you know, that was invented by black gay people in Chicago.
Absolutely.
You know, to see that like such rich history in stuff that I love is like it's amazing, you know.
Yeah. It feels like this is why it beats my heart for me.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. That's why like every time that I like do a set, I like to make sure that I'm sprinkling in a bit of like, you know, pillars of queer culture or like queer artists that I really enjoy, because, you know, I like being able to provide that sort of representation in my sets as well. Yeah. Like, oh my God, I'm still so heartbroken by the loss of Sophie.
Sophie, yeah.
Yeah, and I love playing Sophie tracks out at any sort of event, whether it's like really dancey, I can drop in material, but if it's like really hard, I can just like, oh my god, there's so much variety and creativity when it comes to electronic queer music. You know, there's 100 gecs, you know, there's Jane Remover, there's underscores, there's so many like different sort of genres.
Oh yeah.
So like I really like delving into that because it's sort of me embracing a bit of myself, really.
Yeah, and we should be doing that.
Yeah,
when we do
exactly,
our DJ stuff.
Exactly, because like, you know, I could just be playing the just regular stuff, or I could be playing stuff that speaks to me on like that spiritual level, like what we were saying before. Stuff that speaks to me and resonates with me is stuff that I wouldn't want to play. Yeah,
I always say I want the songs I play to move me either way. It makes me happy, it makes me sad, it makes me a little angry, it makes me this or that. But it has to move me in some direction to even get on the playlist, you know?
Yeah.
So there was something you mentioned earlier. Oh, you had mentioned talking about music stuff with family members like your mom and your uncle. Mm-hmm. When you were growing up, was music a thing that was like always in your house, or was it something you did on your own?
Yeah, my dad, he loved to play the drums, and he also loved to play guitar. And it's so funny because like after he passed away, I'd like open up his drawers and I'd be like, damn, there's 70 guitar picks in here. Oh my god, he left me a treasure trove. Because like there's a joke that like, you know, guitar players never have a pick on hand.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, he left me with about like 180 picks. And I have them in a box somewhere. And so it's funny, I lost the box too. So, you know, I truly never have a guitar pick on me. But it's
the music was there.
Yeah, the music was there. You know, he put me on the Beatles. He put me on a lot of stuff that I still adore to this day. And like even when like I was like, I love electronic music. I want to do this. I want to be like Skrillex. And you know, and like whenever I like imagine my parents listening to like Skrillex, Scary Monsters, and Nice Sprites, they're like, this sounds like robots farting. But you know, I'll approve of it. You know. Like, my dad went out of his way to help me build a Deadmau5 helmet for Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
And we made it out of, like, this, like, hamster, like, this large hamster ball. We put a bike helmet inside, and then we cut out the bottom with a Dremel, and then just lined it with felt. And it was a bit scuffed, but, you know, it was very special to me. And surprisingly, I still have it. I was going to ask if
you still have the helmet.
Yeah, its structure has lost it's like its mouth has collapsed in on itself because of the weight, but like it's still in my life, and I appreciate that and I cherish it.
Well, because, because your dad's hands was on it, and made it for you.
Yeah, just the fact that he was able to accept like me wanting to do, or like me having an interest in different music than the one that he initially exposed me to was very, very comforting.
So tell me about new projects you're working on and what new sounds you've been playing with.
So yeah, I let's see. By this time, so December.
Hard to think like December. I know.
I'd have released an EP with Alex Gray, who's conveniently over there.
I wish you guys could see.
He's just like laying on the couch right now.
You'll have to imagine it.
Yeah, no. We've released a 4-track EP. That is full of like we both have an appreciation for like darker sounds, like new wave kind of Dolcat, just kind of like that, just like with the chorused bass,
just rippy bass.
Yeah, we love that kind of stuff, but like it doesn't really fit in with like an era, and like Alex is more of like a singer-songwriter type musician, so like we decided to like just put out a joint EP of just like Halloween/fall, just like some bangers to tide people over. But like I have stuff that I'm working on with some like nerdcore artists, which is I love nerdcore. Man, Alex had introduced me to this guy named CK9C. Mm-hmm. Jack, shout out CK9C. He is so fun, and we wrote a song together with Alex, and then we had Chi-Chi, who did this song with Silvahound for Has Been Hotel.
Nice.
And we did a song called Sinking, and it's like this very like powerful like duet where it's like, you know, we love making love songs about complications. So like there's this like yearning for like, I wish I could have communicated better. And then the other side where it's like, I understand that you want to communicate better. There's, but I also had my own problems, and like you couldn't see that, but I also couldn't see yours at the time. And we just kind of like fighting over something that we didn't realize that we were both suffering from. And so like we kind of like fused that into the song and created like this nice, very I would say like synth poppy duet. But like that one I'm really excited to be putting out very soon. So like winter is more of like a low key month for or like season. But
yeah,
like the
we're not
that,
out in clubs and stuff. Yeah. Like I mean, winter time. Like we come out of hibernation in March, but we still need to listen to music.
Having just moved to Atlanta, I'm really excited for the winter. Again, 25 degrees.
But you are in town for something fun too. So tell me about your gig that we have. I know this is going to come out months after that, but just so we let people know, like, what kind of gigs are you working?
Yeah, so I'm kind of dipping my toes into the furry fandom, because like I have a lot of friends who are furries, and like I don't know if I'm ready to
a lot with the anime expo.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap really.
And Gen Con, when I do Gen Con too, like it's like a quarter furry con. So
yeah, and it's also like it's I would say it's a really, really important pillar of the queer community, because like I have not met more accepting people in my life than the people who are like furries in my life. Like they are, God, the nicest people. Like Alex, for a while now, I've been talking about like wanting to move out somewhere, away from my family, because like I appreciate being able to have a bit of independence from my family. Mm-hmm. So like when we moved in together, we have a studio together, which conveniently,
promo.
We talked over it. We have our roommate Wyatt, who also is a part of the studio, and just like the collaborative nature of that, and being able to work with Alex over the past like close to 3 years now, has been some of the best experiences I've had in my life. And especially like when he introduced me to CK9C, to people I met over at Furry Week in Atlanta, for Furry Week in Atlanta, and most recently another furry convention in Ontario. Mm-hmm. It's
California, Ontario.
Yeah,
not
California, Ontario. Yeah. I'm not ready to go to
Canada,
Toronto
Ontario.
yet, but it's just there's just a very nice, accepting energy to all of it, because furries from an external viewpoint, they get a lot of flack. It's a lot of hatred, but when you're inside there, it's like you can't hate these people. They show so much affection. They show so much appreciation for each other. And it's very, very unifying, and being able to see these people embrace themselves and the way that they wish to present themselves without any fear or shame of being perceived in a certain way is like, that is honestly all I could wish for the rest of the world, really.
Oh yeah. And I feel like the furry community, the cosplay community, people who do tabletop gaming, like con people basically, become the victims of I think people who just kind of want to punch down at something to make themselves feel better. Like, I mean, that's weird and freaky and far away from me, and now all of those things are pretty mainstream now,
Exactly.
And so I think it's just one of those things that people don't understand it. They want to bully it away because it makes them uncomfortable.
Foreign concepts are always met with criticism initially.
But I also think it's just the fear that person within themselves could never be comfortable enough with themselves to
honestly,
do that.
That's what I think it is.
So they have to slam it down, because if they don't, then what are they doing? I feel like there is a lot of that. But I mean, that's kind of what's cool about the world we live in right now, is that, like, yes, there are a lot of DJs. Yes, DJs get shit, but it's like we're allowed to be in a lot of different niches now. Mm-hmm. And like the reason people struggle with understanding what a DJ does is that they need it to be one stereotypical thing, and to think that DJs have personalities, cultures, beliefs, moods is too complex, and they need
Yeah.
they need DJ as servant, not
Yeah.
DJ as artist.
It's that's always been one of the more interesting things to me regarding like people's like thoughts towards DJs and people who DJ, especially like inside like the DJ world, because you know it's a lot easier for us to see the differences. Like, you know, there furry DJs that I've met are really nice, but then there are like people who are like DJing on like larger stages like Lost Lands, who I've like met backstage, and they're just like really snobby and kind of let you off. But then there's also like people bigger than that, and then they're like the nicest people I've ever met. Like Madion is an instant person who comes to mind all the time when I think of like an example of someone who is always really nice to fans and people who come up to him.
Yeah,
because like, you know, you gotta encourage the environment that you want to bring into your crowds. You know, if you're wanting everybody to be nice, it's best you also be nice rather than, you know, a snob behind the scenes.
Yeah, and you know, I encounter it all the time in terms of like, even in my day job, like directing commercials and stuff. It's like, you'd be surprised the attitudes you get from people who are don't wield that much like power, influence, or money and stuff like that. I think they were just kind of waiting to get in that position so they could act like that.
They, from their perspective, they think they have more.
They earned that, or something.
they've earned the right to be snobby and and all of that.
Yeah,
but it's like, you know, I think there should be just like a bit of a reality check for those kinds of people.
Kindness
Realize
is the
that
way.
You know, toxicity isn't going to keep people around you.
That's the rice cooker's whole thing, though, is like humanize the DJ and positive DJ culture, period. Mm-hmm. You know, which a lot of people talk about DJing, what they want to do, but not about what it takes to make this community sustainable. And it's generally kindness, you know, so.
I mean, that's the only way that I really work is like, you know, if someone's going to boss me around and make demands, it's less of an equals thing and more of a power dynamic.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's really fair on anybody.
Yeah.
You know, because like at the end of the day, if you really want us to treat it on like a layman's term kind of thing, DJing is a job, and you know, it's best not to treat employees with disrespect.
Yeah, because that works first will go somewhere else.
And especially like from the perspective of like DJ to DJ coworkers, you know, I don't want to start beef with coworkers.
Yeah.
If we're going to be doing the same, we're both here for the same thing. We both love playing music, so it's like why all the negativity?
Right. Before we wrap up, I wanted to make sure I get a chance for you to mention where everyone can get your music and listen to your music, like Bandcamp, SoundCloud, or even your social. So if you don't mind just letting us know where can we buy stuff? Where can we hear you?
So the main social media I have is Instagram, which is @MidnightDriftMusic. I don't do Twitter because of the guy who runs it. I forgot his name. I also have Threads because, you know, anybody with an Instagram, I guess, has a Threads by proxy now.
It's gotten real spicy and fun on Threads lately.
Yeah,
I've been seeing
some really good threads as of recent. I'm like, damn, I need to hop back on this. I also have a Twitch. I don't stream often, but I'm trying to do a bit more outside of music. Like I do DJ stuff on Twitch, but I'm also trying to do just like, I'm gonna play Minecraft and just chat shit because it's fun.
Why not? And
that is Midnight Drift. But night is spelled Nite.
Okay. I'm going to look ththese up. I'll put the graphics on the screen. I'll make sure I copy it from your Twitch channel.
I don't know where I got the NIT thing from. No, I think it was like... It's definitely from a Vaporwave album.
Probably.
I forgot which one it is. But like, I have that. I have Instagram. I'm trying to set up a YouTube account properly because we're going to be planning on releasing promotional music videos.
Let me know. YouTube's a beast. So
yeah, YouTube is something I really need to tap into.
It's something different, and if you did it a few years ago, I assure you it's completely different now. So,
yeah. Man, Adpocalypse back 7 years ago, and then, you know, death of animation. And just like there's so many like waves of stuff. Now it's like engagement. It's wild.
Yeah.
But
in terms of SoundCloud or Bandcamp.
Yeah, in terms of music, you can stream my music on any major streaming service. For Bandcamp, it is just Midnight Drift, regular spelling. And then for SoundCloud, it is Midnight Drift Music, like my Instagram.
Okay, very cool.
There you can find DJ sets, demos, stuff that I wouldn't normally put up on streaming services.
Nice. I think the tamales are here. Tamale man's here. Well, tamales are here. It's time to go, rice cooker. Anyways, say bye to anyone you want to say goodbye to. If you want to say bye to your mom right here.
Bye, man behind the camera. Look at him. He's waving. Oh, he's lost.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Midnight Drift. And we'll see you later, rice cooker.
Bye, everybody. I love you.
Producer says wrap it up.